Good afternoon and welcome to the Addiction Show. My name's Miller and I am an addict. And we're blessed today to have a wonderful guest, Tommy Guerra from
Great to be here.
You're not introduced yet. You have to
Yeah,
wait a
all right,
little
all
bit.
right.
We're glad you're here, but okay. We'll get to a really good introduction in just a minute. First, a little bit of housekeeping, Tommy. If you have a problem with addiction that you don't know what to do, where to turn, or you have a friend or loved one with a problem with addiction, go to MiamiRecoveryProject.org. They handle referral services, peer support meetings, as well as training for overdose prevention and free distribution of Narcan to save lives. So I do this every show about the Miami Recovery Project, but today we actually have the Miami Recovery Project here in live, which is very cool. Also, if you want to make a comment about the show, if you want to be a guest in the show, then send me an email, miller@cnews.net. Also, we need a couple of sponsors. We're pretty close, but if you want to sponsor some shows, it's a great opportunity to show your support for recovery. Also, miller@cnews.net. Now for introductions of Tommy. Okay. It's great to have you. It's great to have you here. I've known Tommy a number of years now.
Yeah.
And our friendship has grown as our working together has grown. Tommy is founder and chief executive of MiamiRecoveryProject.org. Executive director. Mm-hmm. Am I giving you too many titles, or
I'll take it?
Take it, sure. It's good. We're going to talk about it in a few minutes, Miami Recovery Project.
Sure.
But first, my fascination is what got you to that position. So we talked beforehand that you're willing to give up your anonymity today.
Absolutely. I gave that up a long time ago, and the purpose is so I could help somebody else with my story. It's my biggest tool.
So let's get to your story. September 12th, 2014.
Correct.
Your last day using. What happened? Had you picked up any white chips before that?
Yeah, I have too many to count. I'm not a one-chip wonder, like they say. I've had multiple attempts at recovery, and I know a lot what doesn't work, right? I've had a lot of attempts and a lot of not successes, right? But I learned from them. What happened on that date was, I think what accumulated was what happened before, right? It was just the hopelessness and despair, right?
Why was that day different, Tommy?
It was just I had a little more effort than the rest of the days, and I gave it some actual work.
Did you know that was it that you were doing?
I didn't know. I honestly I thought I was gonna go and tell my family what they wanted to hear. Hey, I'm gonna do it this time. I'm gonna go to treatment. I'm gonna go do this. What happened that day is I went to a detox with all the intention of going inside. After a few hours of waiting for a long time, that withdrawal started kicking in, and I was getting very uneasy being around so many people, and I just got out of there. I don't know if I was getting out to go use. I didn't use, but I couldn't be there. I told my family, I told my mom, I told the mother of my kids, hey, look, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go to meetings. I promise I'm gonna do it.
And they believed you, right?
They absolutely didn't believe me.
They didn't believe you. I guess they'd been down that road before.
Well, I've told them so many times, and I didn't follow through with it. But I went to a meeting that day, and I went the next day, and I kept on going, and that confidence started to come back, and that shame and guilt started to diminish as I started doing what I said what I was going to do. Because before I said I could talk a good game, right? And I never did it, right? That's why they didn't believe me.
But how long did it take for that obsession to leave? Obsession to use?
Yeah, the obsession, I would say within a few weeks for me, that time. But it's because I was so desperate, and I wanted after going to meetings and getting a week under my belt, and then getting 2 weeks under my belt and clearing my mind a little bit, I started believing that I could do it again, because prior to that point, I had some time before. I had like 3 years, and then went back out. And that's really hard when you do something like that, because you're doing so good, everybody's so proud of you, and then you go back out, and then there's all this shame and guilt that comes that way.
How bad you feel?
How bad you feel, you let everybody down, how could I do this to everybody else? And then you continue to use and drink just to try to get rid of that feeling, and it's just you put yourself in a bigger
So
hole.
now this time was different. You start feeling okay.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
were involved at FIU, Florida
right,
International.
right.
At some point, did you go talk to the school about? Did you see what recovery opportunities there were at FIU, and were there any?
Well, what happened was that initially, during my reoccurrence of use, right, I there was little bits and pieces of trying to get sober. And so one of those times I went to the counseling office. I had about, let's say, 2 weeks under my belt. And I went to the office.
So you didn't smell bad at that point, and your
No,
and
no.
your eyes didn't look like a Georgia road map, and
No,
and you walked in and you
right.
said,
Right. And I walked in, and with the intention of finding some support on campus that can help me go through it while I'm still a student on campus.
were you disappointed that
Yeah, I was disappointed because one of the counselors that, he was a nice guy. He was trying to help me, but he was limited to what he could do for me. He basically gave me a referral to an outside treatment center, which, I mean, is a great, but when I
but
wanted,
your embracing world was FIU,
yeah,
and it
I really,
wasn't there for you in Dentro inside?
100%. I wanted something that was available to me there, and if I know this now, and
So it wasn't available to you,
no, well,
but you made it happen.
well,
What happened
let me
there?
real quick, is that there's a little window of opportunity when somebody asks for help, right? If you're not able to provide that right then and there within that small frame, that goes out the window, right? And that's what happened with me, is that as soon as I left that office, within a few days, I was back at it, right? And they had a golden opportunity to get me involved right there, right? And if they had some type of program on campus, or hey, look, we have this on campus, let me walk you to that meeting, let me walk you to this person in recovery that it can connect you with.
We know the opposite of addiction
Yeah,
is connection,
yeah,
and there wasn't any connection. But
no,
if there had been,
yeah.
it would have been a good thing.
It would have been probably a different story. Maybe I would have found it quicker. But as a result of that experience later on, when I was able to get back into recovery through the help of other people in the program, 12-step fellowships that I attend, they always reached out to me, and so I started taking their help. But when I got back into school, and I got into my grad program, the
You
graduate
have a master's from FIU, yes?
master's, yeah. And it was master's in mental health counseling. And so I was in the program there, and one of the assignments there was to, how do you better the community, the FIU community? And it was a broad concept. There was no real direction, and everybody was doing something different. Some people were like making up the assignment, but like in my mind, it was just like, this has to be on recovery. This has to be related to recovery. And it was, first, I wanted to start a meeting on campus, right?
You had to get that approved, though, yes?
Yeah, well,
The professor had to say, that's good, work on.
the professor was like, I love that idea. Not only is that a great idea, I'm going to help you with this. So that made it more real. Like, I had to follow through, right? If she hadn't said that,
You knew in your heart
yeah,
that this was the right, true path.
I didn't know at that point. Later on, I found out that was the passion. That was the thing I was looking for. That was my purpose that I was looking for all my life. We started not only just a meeting, but we started a student organization where we had multiple meetings throughout the day. We had connection with other students in recovery. We had events throughout the school year, and they were like having.
Did you name that program?
We named it Panthers for Recovery, and
it's still there today.
It's dwindled down a little bit since I've left, but the goal is to still the same, to make it into a collegiate recovery program that is supported by the university, and they're on that path right now, which is I'm very happy because of that. And I've kind of drifted away to other opportunities, but I still, that's my baby that we started.
Question.
Yes,
you. Right, yeah. So FIU's been around, I don't know, 40, 50 years, a long time. Many, many thousands of students have gone through different programs at FIU.
Mm-hmm.
Countless. I don't even, big numbers.
Yeah.
Of those students, a lot of addicts went too, because that's just the
Yeah.
nature of the numbers.
Right.
But you're the one that picked up the pieces and ran with it.
Yeah.
Why did that scare you? Or did that freak you out? That, all those people, but it was you. I mean, I don't want to blow
No.
too much smoke in your ear on this, but it's like,
and I
golly
appreciate-
gee,
what happened was that it was the right opportunity at the right time. And for me, I believe in God and a higher power, right? He just put me in the right place at the right time and used me to do that, right? We're in Miami. We're in a university where a university is what you hear about college. First you hear about partying, then you hear, oh yeah, you get an education there too, right? And so there's it made sense. It's something that should have been done a long time ago.
It's just, if I have a fascination of somebody who sees something and does something about it that nobody else did before,
Yeah.
And certainly higher power, plays into it, and courage and humility. And, I know you well enough that you don't know what you can't do, which is a blessing there.
Well, that's the opposite of me. While I was in my active addiction,
You were a hard ass addict when you were using.
Yeah, well, and I don't like that word.
Hard ass or harder ass, or
I was a person in
addict.
active use,
Yeah,
right?
Right. Words count.
And I was in. Yeah, words matter because there's stigma attached to those words, and those words are
And
absolutely
if somebody
great to
knows
use in
that-
the meetings. Yeah,
So if somebody wants to know the right words to use now to be politically correct,
yeah,
they can go to Recoveryproject.org, and you have allied training that will help people with that.
Cool.
So to remove the stigma.
Well,
correct.
With the disease of addiction, there's a huge stigma, and everybody has an idea what somebody with a substance use disorder looks like. And it doesn't necessarily look like you or me. It may be somebody at the lowest end of
Heck yeah, we're pretty.
Yeah.
So you finish with you finish with your master's.
Yeah.
Tell us about the beginnings of MiamiRecoveryProject.org.
Okay. So basically, Miami Recovery Project is a bigger version of Panthers for Recovery. Panthers for Recovery was the stepping stone for where I'm at right now. I didn't know it at the time, but I knew it later on. I went to, because of Panthers for Recovery, I was able to go to a conference in Las Vegas called Mobilize Recovery. And there were advocates and treatment people working in treatment. There were, all types of people in working in addiction, right? And there was an organization there that was talking about recovery community organizations. And up to that point, I didn't know what that was. But he started explaining it. I'm like, wow, this is like Panthers for Recovery. But it was more for the city, a bigger population. And at that moment, I was like, why am I not thinking bigger? Why am I only focused on the university right now? And at that time, I still didn't want to give up Panthers for Recovery or step away. Even though I was no longer a student there, I was still very active in everything going on with Panthers for Recovery. But that idea of starting an RCO, or Recovery Community Organization, was in the back of my head. And so the opportunity arose when the pandemic hit. Everybody's working from home. I'm working from home, and I have a lot of time on my hands. And I just said, look, now's the time to start working towards this. We got the nonprofit status. We got the 501c3, and we started doing support meetings online on Zoom. It was perfect because we didn't need
How was that funded at that point?
Through my pocket, through
so you believed in it enough to put your own skin in that game.
Yeah, in the beginning, in getting us the 501c3 status and getting all these paperwork that we needed to do. Along the way, then we started taking donations, and luckily, the time was right because a grant became available in April of last year. Right?
From where?
From we got it through Thriving Mind, and they are the managing entity here in South Florida, and the contract was from DCF, Department of Children and Families. And this grant was, if you read it, it seems like it was made for us, right? It was
They've seen you coming, Tommy.
I mean, it was just the right timing. And what was amazing was that the Thriving Mind, they believed in us to give us a grant to an organization that you pretty much came out of nowhere. It didn't have any funding sources, has no track record, right? But as we got that grant, we are able to prove that we definitely need this service.
What are some of the activities that MiamiRecoveryProject.org does today?
Yeah.
What are some of the things you offer?
Our main service is peer support service, which is now we have 4 employees. We're all peers.
What is a peer?
A peer is a person with lived experience. Lived experience meaning with either mental health or substance use. In our organization, it's primarily substance use, and they also have been through training to become a peer, which focuses on advocacy, on employment, on stigma, on a number of things that you're going to come across when you're dealing with individuals. And so it's the stepping stone for that has always been missing, because I mean we know about treatment, right? We know about treatment. You go in there 30 days, what 60 days if you're lucky, and then all right, goodbye, see you later. And it's kind of like you're on your own. So what the peer support does is connects with those people prior to getting out of treatment or a point, but like definitely we want to connect with them prior before they get
So
discharged.
it's like a buddy system, or
It's mentor, buddy slash,
somebody to hold their hand, again, that connection.
well, holding their hand while you help them learn how to do it for themselves. We don't do it for them. We help them learn how to do it for themselves. So a lot of people in early recovery need help with employment, need help with housing, need help with going back to school, and we help them with all of that, And
If I wanted to be a peer, if a person listening to the show
Mhm.
says, I've been in recovery for a while now, I'd like to give back as that form of service,
Sure.
how would they become a peer?
Right. Well, definitely you got to be in recovery, right? So there's a certification process through the Florida Certification Board.
And you do that?
Not yet. We're in the process of getting there, but we will very soon. But there's a certification process. You take a training, which is about 40 hours, and then you take a test, and then you do hours, which is 500 hours.
So you'll be able to grant certification soon for peers?
Well, we don't do the certification. We could do the training, and so then they apply to the certification board, and they could get certified. But we'll be able to do that soon.
Do you envision a lot of peers in Miami-Dade? Is that you said that's the missing piece? I'm kind of a little bit stuck there. If that's the keystone, is that the greatest area of growth that you see in terms of connecting?
I believe, and there is going to be funding available through nationwide, statewide, for peer services, because it works, and the biggest hurdle for peers is, since people have lived experience, sometimes they have some things on their background, right? And the background process to becoming a peer is very difficult. It's a level 2 background check. To be a therapist, to work with adults, you only need a level 1. But recently there was a peer bill that was passed, and it kind of became a little more lenient. It's still a hurdle to jump, but at least it's a step in the right direction.
We have some allies in the legislature in Florida to help with that now. Yes.
Yeah. Well, the people that were on that bill, Senator Rusan, I think he's open with his recovery status. He's in recovery.
Well, he is now, Tommy.
Yeah. Well, he is.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Well, if he isn't,
if he was, it is. Who else did you want out?
No, he's open with his recovery, and
Cool.
he had that bill, and so luckily it passed, and that's a step in the right direction. And there's way more to be done concerning but like there's also barriers too when it comes to the biggest issue is fentanyl, right? There's
How many people last year, Tommy?
106,000 people who died in the last 12 months.
Should have brought the Kleenex, man. It's awful.
Yeah, that's I was at a hockey game last night, right? And the stadium holds 19,000 people, right? So that's like 5 times that, and
look around, their faces,
and it's not getting any better, honestly. And there's barriers.
So let's stop right there for a second, because one of the services that I have been doing with you as a result of my connections here with the people I've met in the paper is to reach out to some of these other 501c3 organizations around the county that are doing their own thing. So and maybe I'm wrong, you're going to help me with this, but my vision is that fortunately through Thriving Minds, you guys are, and other help, you guys are the hub of a wheel, and all these, this is what I see, and all these other organizations, and there are other people doing good things in town, are the spokes. And through the effort of partnerships and connections, that these spokes are connecting to the hub to finally get this wheel turning, to push back against this scourge of deaths from fentanyl.
Yeah.
And once we get that, to have real recovery for fulfillment. Because I see a lot of organizations, and you and I have been together in meetings, because my disclaimer here is that I'm an unpaid advisor to MiamiRecoveryProject.org, and wherever I can put together. And it amazes
and
me.
you're very good at what you do as well. So
well, it's fun working with you. It's a great form of service for me. But to reach out to some of these big companies, big organizations in Miami, that I would have thought, well, they're all connected, and they're not.
No, a lot of times,
to be.
People don't know what we're doing over here, what they're doing over here, and a lot of times, once we connect, we can do so much more.
For me, I see that as the greatest challenge, to make all those connections. I'm a little surprised that it hasn't already been connected, but maybe that's why you're here.
Well, that's the goal. I mean, as the recovery community organization serving Miami-Dade, we want to know every resource and connect with everybody. And we're fairly new, so that we're not even close to being there right now. But the goal is, to let people know this is what we do. We provide recovery support services, and we want to connect with you so we can better support the community. We are better when we work together. I think that rhymes, but
that's so good. We should write that down.
Right? But that's the goal, is just connecting with like-minded individuals that are here for similar missions, so we can help people.
Where do you see Miami Recovery Project in a year or a couple of years?
Yeah, the goal is really to have more reach. There's only 4 of us working as a staff. We have volunteers currently.
But you're moving to new quarters.
Yeah, we're moving. We have a space in Coral Gables right now. We're moving to Kendall, to a bigger space.
The address isn't quite as prestigious, Tom.
Well, it doesn't matter where we're at. We're going to be out in the community.
Right.
The office is just the office. But we're here to serve the community, and we meet people where they're at.
And what is that like? You go, I've seen pictures.
Yeah.
You go out when there's concerts, when there was spring break.
Yeah. Well,
we go out when people are in danger.
Yeah, for sure. Well, wherever it is. I mean, with the peer specialists, we meet individually wherever they're at. Maybe they're still in treatment. We go meet them there. Maybe if they recently discharged, we meet them at their house. Wherever it's most convenient for each person. It's going to be different. But we also go do outreach into the community. We go to downtown. We go to Overtown. We pass out Narcan, do overdose prevention. Most recently for the Ultra Festival, we went and passed out Narcan to the attendees. Outside before they're getting into the event, we passed out hundreds of Narcan doses. And we didn't do as much as we wanted to do, but it was something that we definitely had to do.
Usually I tell this at the beginning, but this segued into our logo in Miami Recovery, our logo in the Addiction Show is the starfish, and I think we're kind of on the same page. And the man's walking down the beach, and there's starfish everywhere, and he comes across a little girl, and she's pick him up, throw him in the water. Little girl, what are you doing? She says, well, the tide went out, and these starfish are all stuck in the sand, and the sun will burn them up, and they'll die if they don't get back in the water. And the man says, little girl, there's thousands and thousands of starfish. What you're doing, it's not going to make a difference.
Right.
And with that, she picked up another starfish and threw it back in the water and said it did for that one. At this point, you have a theme song. A friend, an ally, a support, David Enrique, wrote what is your theme song? And
Recovery is Real. Yeah, he came out with this song, and
why don't we play it?
It's amazing. Check it out.
And Leon, that's your cue.
Be hopeless, blah, 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 blah. I'm at it again. Revel in sin. They'll smother me with judgment, masking dysfunction. David Enriquez speaking. Skip Sanders on the beat. Can I be real with you, my people? Damn it, I'm an addict, I'm at it again. Will the devil in me revel in sin? I'm in recovery. Don't smother me with judgment, relapse, a trap, masking dysfunction. 12 steps to prevent my demons from interjecting. I told y'all I was a fiend, what you expecting? Just God's grace, work, and patience. Take it day by day, and maybe I'll make it stay. Cold growing pain so real on my brain. A graduation to update you with some 4 years of fear. Guilt the pill, there's no escaping the vicious cycle of addiction. Mary Jane made me her bitch friend. Insane how I chase the rain, refraining lightning came. Stress, strain, intense pain, that's now keep it moving, maneuvering through obstacles, ingesting smoke, morning, noon, and night, success improbable. Something's not flowing right, something has got to give. My conscience telling me that this ain't no way to live. Found a better way in AA, the Ace, Deuce, and Arbor Harbor, the main solution. Lame excuses, don't lie to me, sobriety's a motherfucker to deal with. Haha, but at least it's so Yo, if anonymity's the key, then I just broke the lock like Pat and dropped the beat. Just breathe, this happens to be my therapy. Best believe I'ma make it my own so I can sit on the throne. But that's my ego speaking, I can't make it alone. Consumed by this cocoon of doom, confusing rumination. The illusion and temptation, still ill with reservations. Take advice from those on the path with hope and peace, it seems to last. Some steps forward, others back. Unless it's death, I progress on the same track. Learn to let it burn, not react when the cravings hit. Raving mad lunatic, unscrupulous, my spirit is sick. Rock this philosophy on this odyssey. Honestly, honesty's probably the best policy. That's how it ought to be. Otherwise, lies and pride on my mind play tricks. Damn it, I'm an addict, I'm at it again. Will the devil in me revel in sin? I'm in recovery. Don't smother me with judgment, relapse, a trap, masking dysfunction. 12 steps to prevent my demons from interjecting. I told y'all I was a fiend, what you expecting? Just God's grace, work, and patience. Take it day by day, and maybe I'll make it stay. To my recovery warriors, thank you for sustaining me and guiding me on this journey. Stay strong, keep fighting, together we can. I used to be a hopeless dope fiend, now I'm living the dopeless hope dream. I used to be a hopeless dope fiend, now I'm living the dopeless hope dream. I used to be a hopeless dope fiend, now I'm living the dopeless hope dream. I used to be a hopeless dope fiend, now I'm living the dopeless hope dream. I'm at it again, revel in sin. Don't smother me with judgment, masking dysfunction. My demons are interjecting. What you expecting? Take it day by day. Stay. I used to be a hopeless dope fiend, now I'm living the dopeless hope dream. I used to be a dopeless dope fuck.
Powerful.
Yeah.
Thank
No, I
you,
love it.
David, Enrique. Thank you very much. Tommy, this is important stuff. You know, it's the highest level of service I've ever done, and I've been around a few mango seasons. To be able to push back, to be able to do something meaningful, to be able to work with you, and then to meet with others for the greater goods. You know, bigger, better, more recovery. So before we sign off, I do want to give a shout out to my son, Josh Myers in Germany, United States Air Force. Thank you for your service, son. Be safe. And we're out. Thank you, Tommy.
All right. Thank you.